And now for something completely different. I just thought of something new to try. I have a Minn Kota talon back there. It's a single one, so I have that in a down position in about 8 feet of water. It's a 12-foot Minn Kota. And I'm twirling. I got it down. I got the Terrova just doing loop-de-loops. I'm just doing circles next to the lily pads with 4 rods out. It's just something new, different. If you find a good spot, something you can maybe try, cover kind of a wide swath and just do circles if you wanted to relax and with the grandkids or something, and just leave rods out instead of trolling through a smaller type area like this is. You can just twirl it, do circles. You can see on the Garmin, the front rod, the jigs are about 5 feet down. I'm using Driftmaster rod holders, B&M poles. I got brush cutters. This is a PST, 2 brush cutters, and I got a Uncle Buck's up front, 14-footer. On a Driftmaster rod holders, using Pico jigs. I also got some Bobby Garlands, some crappie magnets. We'll see what we can catch. It's not a real good time of the year to be crappie fishing, but this is just a weird, different style technique. I just wanted to see what it would produce. What do you think, Kofu? Think it's gonna produce anything, or we gotta find a different spot to twirl in? Kind of neat, it's, my rod's 14 foot out. My trolling motor's just got it on what speed? On 1, and I just kind of like trolling, but you're twirling around the fixed point where the Minn Kota talon is down, and you kind of set up next to the lily pad. So come in by the lily pads. It's still kind of deep here, so it's 6.9 feet. It's an interesting thing to try. Might be something good to do in the springtime when the fish are spawning, if you're in an area that you can do this in. Twirling. Try it sometime. What else I'm doing now is, okay, I twirled this little spot enough. I just picked up my talon and I'm moving down. And then once I find another spot to twirl in, ooh, this has got snagged, I bet. Or is that a fish? That's a snag. All right, let me put you down. So I got out of that snag. It wasn't a big deal. But moving over, gonna enjoy the shade of that tree. And try twirling over on this side of the canal. Pretty cool. I got a bobber on that one, by the way. If you see that, I got a split shot on the middle one, so it keeps it down a little bit. And then it's probably 11 foot. That 11-footer, I got it out on a just light jig, a Pico bunny butt. And then I got 2 Bobby Garland on the front, 14-footer. So you kind of nose into a spot. How deep am I? 9 foot. I got a 12-foot talon. There's fish there. They're hard to get them to bite though, I can tell you that much. But I'm just nosing up to shore. The talon's at the back of the boat, obviously. I'm gonna drop the talon here in a second. And then we're gonna start twirling. Now we're gonna put the trolling motor sideways and do loop-de-loops. We'll see. Let's see if we catch anything here. So post in the comments whether you think this is a good or interesting idea and ways to improve it. Just something I thought I'd try. Something I thought would be interesting. Something I thought, ooh, you could see a fish that's on that front jig. He was looking at it. Maybe I need to put some slab sauce on it. But nice easy way to fish, maybe with grandkids, maybe with the wife. Just thought I'd try it. Please like and subscribe and let me know what you think of the idea. Here's the crazy man again. So, this house gets a lot of water here. It comes from down the road. In both directions. Water comes from that way and water comes from that way. It all flows down here. And it's supposed to go down here. When we had this house built, we asked for this to be lowered, and then the water would go to the canal, straight to the canal. But it doesn't all. It still goes here and tries to flood the garage. It doesn't quite make it in there, you can see, and you can see the debris that this grate drains out into the canal, so that's good, but it actually does get clogged up. So over the years, you know, and water will actually flood up into there too. And I've got to fix the flag. Bill Bob wouldn't like that. He'd yell at me. So I've come up with something. Only took me 10 years. Yesterday we had a big downpour. And I tried using these. These are just, it's like Dacron filled with sand. And I've used those over the years to try to direct a water flow to the right side over there where next to the Jeep is. And it's not tall enough. It doesn't work that good. So yesterday in the middle of the storm, I walked out here and it was flooding bad. And I decided to get some 4x4s, and they worked. I put the blocks on the 4x4 so they didn't float away. And today, I'm trying something. So I can't wait for the next flood. So I got the 4x4 here. It's contained in this position when the waters come in with that. It's actually a bimini strapping thingamabob that I screwed into the 4x4, and that'll keep that from drifting off. On this side, I did plan on drilling a hole and doing something similar, drilling a hole into the concrete. But heck, for now, for the next storm, I'm just going to put these heavy blocks here. That'll keep the 4x4 from floating away, and that'll keep the 4x4 from pushing back. And I can add more blocks if I want. But what I didn't like about this whole idea is the mailman comes and delivers stuff and picks up stuff for me. So I didn't like having a 4x4 sticking out over here. So essentially when it rains, I can swing this out because it's hinged right there. Or I can leave it kind of like this. And when it does rain or flood, the water behind this will push this back, and might liable to float a little bit at least, and it'll block the water and keep the water going that way, all the way to the canal. And then the other thing is, even if this does float a little bit, that's okay, because it'll keep the debris. Because what happens is, if there's too much debris here, it'll just go over the top once it gets loaded up, But if it floats up, then it'll push back on the debris, and clean water will go underneath it. And that clean water will go down this drain and not clog it up. And the last thing I'm doing is killing all the grass here so I can rake some of these rocks out to have the water flow that way better down the road. So right now I'm just killing the grass, and then I'm going to rake the rocks out, and then hopefully we'll have better flowage. Cool. Hopefully we don't have, I just don't want water going in the garage, and when it rains really bad, it does. Even though we added this road that the water's supposed to flow down, it doesn't flow enough. So when it does rain too, I'll rake out some of the dirt that settles in here, and then I'm going to go ahead and spray this stuff down so that it dies as well, and I'll rake that out too, so there's better flowage on down the side of the house to the canal. You can see the canal right there. And I just got to get this water flowing down to the canal.